Today we are going to be talking about budget guns. And for those of you who really are on a budget, we are going below budget in the sub $300 gun range. So we're going to be doing a little chat about that. I'm a firm believer in good quality, but I'm also, even more important, a believer in you should have something to protect yourself with. To spare a story, a quick one. I used to live in a really bad neighborhood. Back in the day when I didn't have a lot of money, I didn't have a lot of really good paying job. I am blessed to have a decent paying job, but for those of you in my position that know what I'm talking about when you're in a bad neighborhood, in a bad example apartment complex. There was a guy that lived next door, like a few doors down from me, and whenever he'd get drunk, he'd always come over and ask to borrow a cigarette. One day he kicked in my door to borrow a cigarette because he was blitz gone, and that's kind of what got me into the firearms world and taking seriously you need protection, because what if it was one of the many crackheads or pill poppers that ran through the wall? This is a Tokarev. For the sake of the video, here is a Tokarev, and I am going to be talking about con blocks as an option for budget and my thoughts on that. Okay. So piggybacking off of my Tokarev video, I said that in regards to you, what other uses will you have for like military surplus pistols as a whole? So that's where we're pony backing. You need a gun now. Maybe you had something happen to you. Maybe something happened to a friend. Maybe you had something where, literally you already know the importance of home defense as an example or something, and you're saving for that Glock, that Smith and Wesson, or even the CZ, and you are looking at it like, well, I don't want to get a Taurus, I don't want to get a Car Arms, or but I need something now. I don't want to get a Kel-Tec or something of budget minded. And I'm gonna still steer you toward a Ruger SR9, SD9VE. Both are viable options. You can find them and they'll serve well. However, other than going into those budget options, I'm going to say quality. I'm still going to say nothing is going to replace kind of the tried and true, the SIG, Smith & Wesson, Glock, HK, Walthers. I'm aside from that point and kind of the gold standard of striker-fired pistols, kind of what people are carrying, what people like. People are digging the Glocks. I understand that if you don't have that kind of money, the sub $300 range, you're kind of limited. You're going to get something that either will work and jam, you're going to get something that will break, you're going to get something that, you're not going to be happy about, to be honest. I've had some budget guns in my life. The big one is High Point. I have owned 5. Why 5? I had the 45. I've owned that twice, 2 of them. I've owned the C9 3 more times other than that. So my opinion on that is going to be the same, is that I do not recommend them. But if that's literally all you have and can afford at that time when you walk into that store, it's going to be better than nothing, okay? You're going to want to train with it, get some rounds, know how it functions, understand that weird blowback system, that feels like a delayed recoil when you're using a High Point. The sights, they're going to be okay. I think I didn't like them, but that's just me. So the point of this video is going to be that sub $300 gun, and where does old con blocks, or military surplus pistols fit into the mix? You can find, example, this Tokarev was under $300, 1 magazine. So let's say you were like me and you need some protection. You want something for your house because of an incident that happened either in your neighborhood. You picked your scenario, but you stumbled on this video. Military surplus as an option for something other than a collector's. For me, this is just a collector's. Disclosure on that. I think that the budget options nowadays are better, like the Ruger SR9, the SD9, but I understand if you can't afford it, and let's say you don't want to order online because you can't wait, so you're at a show and this pops up. Okay? So, kind of my thought on when it comes to these, types of pistols, Milsurp and Hull. Like, I'll give you an example, the Star BM. Spanish, they use that forever. Even the Tokarev, they've been proven to work. They've been proven to be rugged, full metal construction, manages recoil. With certain ones of these types of con blocks, they don't like, critical defense or, hollow points in general. So I'm just letting you know, just do your research on them before you buy. But if you find one for a good deal, and you're like, this is going to be my step up gun to get right now to save, and you're thinking about it, like maybe I should just get one of these as a step up gun. Like, this is going to be the gun that I'm going to have in my house. I'm going to shoot it a little bit, and then I'm going to save for that Glock or that whatever pistol that is, kind of in the $400 to $500 range. And I get it, times are tough, and not all of us make the money like everyone else in the tactical world. And this is going to be kind of also a semi-rant. Going on a semi-rant. Okay, the tactical world does cater to people, that spend a lot of money on their firearms. And, on the forums we all joke, the poors are at it again, blah, blah, blah. I still personally prefer quality and track record when it comes to looking at firearms that I'm going to be using in a home defense or whatever situation, the Boogaloo or SHTF or a disaster. Let's bring up Comblock. Now, these were in service at some point in the police, the military, etc., etc. So they do have a record of use and a record of ruggedness that works. If you find a good quality one, some examples I can think of off the top of my head. The Star BM you can find for under $300. You won't find them online anymore, but I've seen them at gun shows, gun stores, bigger gun stores, or even randomly I've seen for under $300 still. Usually when it comes to con block, they only come with one mag. Check that. So, or con blocks, or even in whole, if you find one with two mags, CZ, I can't even remember the model, 51, that shoots 7.62 by 25 toke. Another one off the top of my head are the Beretta 81s that, shoot 32 cal. Star BM, I've seen them shoot, they shoot the 9mm. So, getting into that, just check and see if it functions with hollow points, know what ammo that budget option likes, but you will find these to be serviceable. They're rugged, they work, and they will be okay in a pinch, I would say, for home defense. For carrying all metal construction, you're going to find is going to be a lot heavier. You're going to have pay the money for a belt for it. Can you do it? Yes. Is it going to be the most comfortable or the best option? Definitely no. If you're going to open carry this, something like this, you're going to find that it'll be fine. Okay, it can handle the elements. They're proven and they work. If you find one of good quality that is in good condition still, you're going to find something like this might be an option for you in a pinch. And what I mean is, like, let's say you don't have a lot of money, okay? And I feel like I'm stressing this. You don't have a lot of money. You find something like a Milsurp pistol for $250, magazine, and then if you go get it at a gun store, sometimes you can see them where they'll throw in a box of shells, box of ammo with it for you as well that you can use for it. Okay, there you go. I'm still going to say go to the range and shoot with it because you got to know how to use your tool, even if it is a budget option. But something like this, you go and shoot it, you're going to find these to be very enjoyable to shoot. Plus the history factor as well. If you were in a disaster situation like a hurricane, you're worried about looters, you and the people that remain behind for that, are sitting there, and you were to come with this or a high point, I would say you'd be sitting a lot better with something like this, okay? By far. These are proven. Just make sure to shoot with it, know how it shoots, know what to look for when looking at Milsurp, and that is big. Watch the videos. I recommend that if you're a gun guy in general, you should watch videos on what to look for when you're looking at Milsurp. Get an idea, because sometimes you can find a really good deal on some Milsurp. Now, I am not a Milsurp guy. I like him. I like shooting him. I love the history. I'm a history guy. Like, that's what I watch over football, as an example, is, documentaries and history, and, not just that. However, when it comes to owning stuff, I like the more modern stuff. is what I like to shoot because of I have more fun with it. But I still like the old Milsurp pistols, rifles, etc. And these are pretty rugged. There's a reason why they were in service. You know they're going to work. And if you are stuck in a pinch and you're like, what should I get? I should get something for the budget just to save. What's nice about the Milsurp is once you do get that nice thing, you got a pretty cool collector's piece that, you can't really put a price on. I mean, you're not going to want to trade in your Milsurp, or maybe you would, but I'm just saying what's nice about Milsurp, if you're using it as a step-up gun, is what I'm going to coin that term, is a gun that you get in the now so that you can save. You're going to go shoot with it at the range with your friends, even if you're not worried about home defense. You just want a gun that you can shoot with your friends while you save to get the gear that your friends have. As an example, something like a Milsurp, it's always going to be fun. Like, I had a few people at the range shoot this Tokarev and they liked it. Okay, they said, "Wow, this thing just functions cool. It's kind of ugly looking, a little beat up. I mean, the one I got is, and it's fun. Recoil manages very well for a very hot load. Phrasing, hot loads. So, kind of when it comes to Milsurp, I see him outside of the use as somebody who who needs a gun." And if you're looking at this as an option, I know this is not for everyone. If you're looking at this for like home defense kind of a thing, just because as a step up, I'm going to recommend 3 things. Make sure to have the ammo for it. As an example, 7.62 by 25, I can only order it online and find it at one store in my state of Minnesota. Now, your state might be a little different than my state. Like if you're in Texas, I'm sure you can find all sorts of ammo all over the place. At least that's my thought. I've been to a gun show in Texas one time, and honestly, it was the greatest thing I've ever been to. Minnesota, looking at it, I could only find 7.62 by 25 at one store, and I only found 2 different types of ammo, Winchester and Generation, and the next generation of South African remanufactured brass surplus. That is mixed reviews, in case you're wondering. So I recommend, number 1, if you're looking at Milsurp, find something that you can find easily in a store, like 9mm. They make tokes in 9mm, so you can give that a look if you really wanted to. I also recommend that, if you can find another magazine with it, get another mag. Don't just get one, okay? This one only has one, and I cannot find these for the life of me anywhere, or at least the surplus mags. I can get new mags, obviously, for about 25 or some bucks, but for me, this is just a fun little novelty gun. So there you go. But I do find that I feel like I could trust my life to Milsurp if I had to. So let's say you're looking at Milsurp because, if you're looking at a shop, you got a High Point, you're going to find a Taurus usually, and you're going to find a Milsurp. And let's say you don't want to go with the Taurus because you did your homework, watch reviews, and is like, it jams a lot. But if you're looking at something overall and you settle on Milsurp, just make sure they have the ammo for it. See if there's another mag for it or where you can order another mag online. Just check that availability. Know what to look for in a specific Milsurp. Do your research, and I think you should do it anyway, just because you might find a gem for very cheap, like I did with this Tokarev. I don't recommend 7.62 by 25 for most of you because you're not going to find the ammo other than ordering it online. So there we go. But if you're looking at Milsurp for a home defense / SHTF, you're going to find that it's going to work. Okay. There's a reason they got that quality. There's a reason they were in service. Are they the best option? No. Do I think like something like the Ruger SR9 and the SD9 VE is going to be better than most Milsurp? Yes, by far. But I understand also that some people can't afford it, and sometimes you stumble upon these Milsurp pistols for a good deal. And the most important thing is like if you were like me with the SD9, you're gonna sell it to upgrade to something better. You know what I mean? Whereas with Milsurp, you're gonna want to hold on to it, and it's going to be a fun little gun that you can bring to the range. At least that's what this Zastava Tokarev is for me. Fun little gun I can bring to the range. Would I use it? No, because I have other stuff. Maybe for you, though, you might be looking at it like, I need something right now just to tide me over. Honestly, between this, if I'm knowing what I know now, if I'm looking at a shop and there's a high point and something like this of a Mill Serp gun, I'm going to gravitate more toward that old school thing that was reliable, tried and true in many different countries, saw service as a police communist uprising, going somewhere in Spain down to Morocco to suppress some rebellion. I, you know, I'm going to lean more toward the really Mill Serp over a high point, over some of the budget options, even so, because what you're going to find is these are going to be fun little guns that are going to work. I also would see this as, if you bought one of these as what I like to call the handoff. If you're ever in a disaster area, ever in your life, you know that when you're kind of talking to other people around, you're worried about whatever SHTF scenario, or, if you're in a disaster, you always get stuck. You may or may not get stuck with people who just don't own firearms, but you have to rely on them. I'm not going to go into details. For those of you that have been in a disaster, shed some light. But there are times where you have to rely on somebody who may not own firearms, and they're going to sit in the house, and you're all kind of banding together as a community to ride out that storm. You're not really worried about, maybe you're worried about looters, maybe you're worried about, I don't know, but you want to have some protection because you're in a disaster zone and you don't want your stuff stolen while you wait for help, or et cetera, whatever your scenario is. And you're going to use something like this as a handoff, like, to the person who doesn't have a gun on them because their house got destroyed and their safe is halfway down, the Mississippi, or halfway into the Gulf or the ocean. And you hand them something like this, you can trust it will work. If you're ever stuck in a situation where you need to use this, you're going to find these are going to work. These are going to serve you well. Just get training with it. That's going to be my little rant on Mill Serp. If you're going to hand it off to somebody, show them how to use it. But you can trust it. The problem with Mill Serp and kind of the Achilles heel is when they were made, they have more of a limited mag capacity. And that is something to consider as well. But also High Point does as well too. So you're going to find that these are going to serve you well. And I'm not talking 7.62 by 25. I would prefer the 9mm if you're going to use it in that case, because you can find 9mm everywhere. Unless there's an ammo shortage. So anyway, this is a tactical parts review and kind of that follow-up on that Mill Serp. Using Mill Serp for something other than a collector's item and a fun little range toy. If you were ever in a pinch where you had to use this for a home defense, or if you had to use this as a duty type of a role, it will work. It is not the best option. I still recommend budget options in the $300 range, like the Ruger SR9, the SD9VE as an example. You can find the Mossberg just came out with their new kind of a pistol that, is under 300. That's what I mean. Give some looks to some of the those options, but if you got stuck on having a Mill Serp, you will find this will work well. And I'm going to reiterate again, do not leave guns in your cars or trucks because people will steal them. So anyway, this is the tactical parts review. And I just want to say, also, while we're on the topic, there's not a lot of people, there are some people who just can't afford stuff. And I'm not ever going to hate somebody. So if literally you can only afford a High Point and a box of ammo, and that's what you have to defend your life with, it's better than nothing, okay? But I'm steering you more toward the look at better options. But if literally you're in a gun store and the cheapest thing they have under 300 is a High Point, and you need something today, you need something now because you're that worried, I guess go for it. Know its issues, and there you go. And if you really can't afford a lot, I totally get it. I'm with you. I know what that's like. I've been in your shoes, and I gravitated toward High Point, but I also saw a Mill Serp pistol right next to it that would have served me a lot better, and I would have held on to it and not let it go, because even when you do upgrade, you got a fun little gun. So this is the tactical parts review. If you like this video, like, subscribe. Again, I upload videos. I record them either Saturday or Sunday. Once a week, we're going to be getting into different topics. I'm going to be doing more of the parts review lately. Again, I had pneumonia and the flu, so I took a little bit of a hiatus and ordered some parts. So we're going to get into the parts of an AR that, you might be wondering about. So anyway, thank you so much, everybody, and have a good day.